Ric Flair is 48 years old at this time, and Piper was 43. Did you feel like those guys were clinging on a little bit too long at this stage of their career? Maybe it was time for them to hang it up or start to take a back seat.
Um, not as long as they could go.
Mm.
I mean, Rick, how old would you say he was?
Rick was 48 at that time, 1997.
Really?
Yeah. So he was getting up there in age. Piper is 43, and it's one of those situations where you can see both sides of the argument where these guys are saying like, "Hey, we're the established veterans around here. You guys need to show us more respect."
But again, but wrestling being what wrestling is, it's kind of like if you still got it and go for it and can go for it, go for it. I mean, it's like uh, it's like there's the battle you see in the ring, and then there's the battle you see that you don't see. It's backstage. That was just and I thought about that later. I thought, man, I wonder if I can. I probably could have gone a couple more years. I mean, yeah, I was I was in as good a shape as any of those guys. But again, it was a personal thing. Uh, not gonna. And to be honest, I am very happy today that I did that. I mean, because I look at guys who kept going, maybe even to 45. But, you go back, like that 50, 53, 54, 55-year-old guy still climbing in the ring and wrestling. Now, I mean, as I have had both my knees replaced, but other than that, I mean, I'm probably, I mean, I just had a checkup with my heart doctor. He said, Ted, he says, I doubt if you'll ever die of a heart attack. And I said, why? He says, you have the arteries of a much younger man. And
And to your point, if you had hung in there and kept wrestling, you're being harder on your body. Could have been harder on your heart too. You're putting your heart through more paces, and also some of the drugs you might have taken, muscle relaxers and stuff, so that you can ease your back and give yourself a little relief. That could have impacted your heart. So really, it's
yeah,
getting out of the business when you did, probably one of your greatest decisions.
yeah. And, I have a lot of people tell me, and they'll ask me, so, well, Ted, how old are you now? And I go 70. And 70? A lot of people don't think I look 70. Of course, I'm looking at myself right now, and I think I do.
Well, in my opinion, to coin a phrase, you look like $1,000,000, pal. Um, One of the complaints when it comes to the older wrestlers in WCW, such as Flair, Hogan, Piper, Savage, etc., was that they were taking up valuable TV time and younger stars weren't getting the opportunities that they deserved. That narrative is actually going to become a storyline during the Vince Russo era in WCW. Ted, when you were coming up in wrestling, how did you feel about it when an older performer would come into the territory or take up big chunks of TV storyline? Would it bother you, or were you excited to have an old established veteran there?
Well, for me, I mean, I grew up in the business. There's a couple of guys, that have told me stories about having had the opportunity of wrestling my dad, obviously before he was gone, but that he had helped them considerably. In other words, I mean, where did I learn to wrestle? I didn't learn it in the gym. I learned it in the ring in front of a live crowd. That's the old school. And so, any guy that comes along that's got that savvy that gets it, you know, um, I'd say, hey, come on, I can learn from you.
So you were excited to have older established veterans come in because you felt like they could make you better.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like it. That's
yeah.
a cool perspective. Not a perspective a lot of guys shared, I'm sure.
Guys, some of the guys that I wrestled when I first started for Bill Watts, there was a guy, oh my gosh, Buck Robley,
Mhm.
a guy named Bruiser Bob Sweetan. You know, he wasn't a very. I mean, he was a great worker. I'll put it that way. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
Jake has said he was a piece of shit human being, but he taught people a lot.
yes, couldn't say it any better. Yeah, that's right. He was a piece of shit human being, but he was a great worker. Buck Robley, another guy. And oh gosh, there's a bunch of guys that I got. Oh my gosh, uh, they were a tag team.
Pat Patterson and Ray Stevens.
Yes, I I had another really good match. Well, I had a really good match with Pat Patterson when they first brought me into the old WWF. They brought me in as a North American champion.
Wow.
And I dropped the North American Championship belt to Pat Patterson on TV as I was leaving New York the first time. And he's another guy that unbelievable worker, great and great savvy about the business. Understood the business very very well. So
Really cool that you have that perspective on these older guys and what they can teach you, which again, pretty rare.